I have a lot of people that's always asking me about all of the symbols that I wear, because I dress differently than most people, and like I always say, it has everyone, the way that they carry themselves, um, primarily is because of pretty much what they've experienced in life. I come up in Chicago, on the south side of Chicago, but I came up in a community called Shadow Village, which was a very diverse community. So, plus my family is very diverse. We're a mixture of Black, Indian, Creole, Irish. It's just a lot going on with my bloodline. But whenever I'm out, a lot of people always ask me about these symbols that I wear, and even in my videos, people sometimes send me messages on Facebook, as I always mention, about my videos and the things that I wear on my videos. If you were to meet me in person, you would think that I dress like a Middle Eastern type person, because I've been overseas and I spent time in Dharamsala, India. I've been to Rama, Pakistan. And when I was over there, I felt more connected with the planet, other than being over here in Babylonia, America. But I found, just going through a whole lot of things in life, I've gotten into meditation for a number of years, and a lot of things were revealed to me along with some experiences that I had to go through. That's like this here. It's the yin and yang symbol. Now, most people, especially the people who I grew up with, who knew that I was deeply into martial arts, this was a symbol for martial arts back in the day, in the 70s. But this is actually, it symbolizes duality, good and evil, and how they're both clashing into one another, trying to assert that each one is right and necessary, which is something that's going on in all of us, whether a lot of us want to admit it or not. But we are dual human beings because we were created by a dual creator. I mean, everything is dual. It really doesn't matter. Left, right, up, down, negative, positive, evil, good. Everything has everything is created in dual, everything. This symbol is another yin and yang symbol, but it's two dragons. It's two dragons. And that represents, to myself, as far as the dragon is concerned, on the lighter side is the evil that is necessary. And on the other side, which is the darker side, is the evil that we struggle with. Now, this symbol here is the death angel. This is the death angel because in 1996, in protecting the lives of my sons and me, I had to delete a couple of people who thought that they were going to harm my sons and myself. And what I had noticed that night is that when I did what I had to do, I didn't feel anything. Because when you know that what you are doing is right, you don't think about it. You just act. You act upon what is right, and that's intelligence. That's intelligence. And so eventually I'm going to go into that and express what happened that night. But these are what the symbols are all about. And so I'm pretty much going to go into that, what happened at night, because there's not a lot of people who know about that, including a lot of my family members, if any of them know anything about that, because it was done in such a way that barely my sons even know that it happened. Because when you're in a situation like that, you have to handle it very calmly so that you won't provoke any excitement in your children to where it's just going to make the situation a lot more complicated than it needs to be. So when you see a couple of people coming towards you and your children, excuse the silence, when you see a couple of people coming towards you with your children at a distance, you have to identify what the problem is, already know what it's going to take to resolve it. Calmly protect your children, put them away, and tell them, just hold on for a second. Daddy's going to be back. And you go and you handle your business. That's what you do. And so when you do something like that, and during the act, there's no thought process, no duel about, should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? Because when it comes to that, you're in the fourth state of mind. See, the first state of mind is the duel. You have those two battle one another. This third eye that a whole lot of people talk about, and they think that gives them clarity. No, the third eye is the one that is existing outside of the dual components and observing the dual components. However, you don't have a resolve. So you don't have clarity. Now, the only way that you can perceive this as a reality, you have to be in the fourth sense, which is clarity, to be able to observe the third, observing the two, which is the dual, and understanding what needs to be done. So this is the reason why I wear these symbols. I was asked about these bands that I wear on my wrist. I'm a warrior. This represents my warrior spirit. I'm 58 years old, but I'm in phenomenal shape. I'm in phenomenal shape. So not only should a human being be intellectually fit, psychologically fit, emotionally balanced, you have to also be physically fit so that you will end up being a complete human being. So like Brother Bruce Lee said, you have to train your body and you have to be fit so that when you want it, it's there. And when you move, you're moving. And when you move, you're determined to move. You act. So you have to keep your body in shape so that when you come upon different situations, or when others feel as though they're going to bring you a situation, you have to be already ready so that you be able to act. Because being able to act saves lives. So since a lot of people heard my statement in one of my other videos about that night, a lot of people has been wanting me to talk about that, and I will go into that in the next part of this video. I just wanted to explain these symbols to people, because if you ask, I'm going to be honest, but so with that being said, I guess we're going to go into the next part of the video. As I said before, it was in 1996, and it was one night that I went to pick up my sons, who were at the time 6 years old and 3. I went by their mother's place to pick them up because I just wanted to spend some time with them. And so after we ate, I asked them that they want to go with me to this outside car wash on the street out here in Las Vegas named Sahara. And it's a car wash where you go and you wash your own car. And so of course they said yes. And so we went and sprayed the car down, and we did the usual. And so how you drive to the area of where you do the vacuuming and you dry your car off and everything. While they were over there helping me dry off the car, it was cool, because you got this 3-year-old, he's drying off the car. You got a 6-year-old, he's drying off the car. And as you're working, you're still a parent, you're still a father, so you're looking around. You're making certain that the environment is safe while you're enjoying this time with your sons. And so after a while, I noticed a couple of guys at the end of the car wash entrance standing there. And it was a black guy and a white guy. And they were standing there staring at us. And so we just kept doing what we're doing. And then I looked again 2 minutes later, and they were standing there staring at us. And so that didn't look good to me. So I calmly told them, get in the back seat. We'll finish this another time. Get in the back seat. And as I was talking to them, the black guy looked over at the white guy, and he said a few words, and he nudged his head like, come on, let's go. And so they started walking towards us as I was telling my sons to get into the back seat. So I noticed as I was putting them in the back seat, they sped up their walk a little bit. And so I told them, get in the back seat lay down, and no matter what you hear, don't look up. Already knew what this was. And so I used to keep my firearm with me at a 45 automatic. Used to keep it up under my car seat. And anytime that I used to go and spend time with my sons, I would always carry my firearm. Because there was a saying that I heard one of my uncle's friends in Chicago said, once you gain a son, you buy a gun. So that was to imply, protect the lives of your sons. Now, this is not implying, because I know how y'all think, this doesn't imply that a man shouldn't buy a firearm if he have a daughter. So I just want to get that out the way, you know. But they started speeding up their pace. And so as I told them, lay down, I closed the door and I immediately went to the driver's seat. I took my gun out of my pouch, and to make certain that they wasn't too close to the vehicle, I hurried up, took my gun out my pouch, and I walked around the car and I started walking towards them. And I looked at them. The white guy had a knife, the black guy had a gun. And I'm not the type of man, once I know what's getting ready to happen, I'm not going to waste my time and ask you, what's this all about? What's up? What's up? You don't have time for that. You got lives to protect. You're not out here by yourself where you can take chances on asking, what's up? You know, what's going on? You know, why you, no. You've got babies to protect. You know what this is. And you know what you have to do. You act on it. You're looking at them, they got weapons. So who's it going to be? It definitely is not going to be me and mine. I promise you that. So when I looked in their eyes and I saw their faces tighten up like this, I knew something was coming. And so when I saw that, I just started firing. Boom, boom, boom. The white guy, he went down. The black guy, in the midst of the white guy getting hit, the black guy, he got hit because one of the bullets ricocheted off his partner and it hit him. And so when I went up to him, I looked at him. I told him to look at me. And when he was looking at me begging for his life, I didn't see nobody down there but me begging for mine. As far as I'm concerned, by him being a black man, and he knows better. He knows this shouldn't be going on. I deleted him. One to the stomach and one to the head. I'm not going to let you hurt my children. That's not going to happen. Now, if you want to come after me, you take your chances, and I'll give you that chance. But not my sons. Not them. Not them. I'm not going to put them in that situation. You're not going to do that. You're not going to do that to mine. And so I hurried up and resolved it. I got in the car and I told them, okay, let's go. I'm taking them home. So when I dropped them off, I didn't tell their mother anything. So I drove back to the car wash, and the police were out there and some people. And I went to the police. First, I parked my car visually in the area. I took my my gun and my registration. When I got out the car, I put my registration, and I put my gun inside of my pouch, put it up on top of the registration, my gun registration. And so as I was walking towards the scene, I paused, and when the cops looked back with the people, you know, because it was an older woman letting the cops know that I was coming. And so when the cops noticed that I was just standing there, I asked them permission to approach. I said, permission to approach. And they said, yes. And as I was walking towards them, they said, did you see what happened? And I'm like, yes. And they said, do you know who did it? And I'm like, yes, I did. And so after I said that, I put my hands out like this, and they say, no, turn around, put your hands on your head and get on your knees. And so I complied, and as they were putting me in handcuffs, I told them my gun registration and my firearm is on the hood of my car. And so they took me to the police station. They took my registration and my firearm down there. We went downtown Las Vegas to the police station. And so they put me in the holding tank, and I was sitting in the holding tank for, I would say, 4 hours waiting. And so this young Italian guy, he's an officer. He said, come on, we're going to the chief's office. And I'm like, chief's office? And so they took me in there and they sat me down. He said, just sit here and wait. And so I'm sitting in the chief police office, curious, because at that point, I really don't care what happens to me. I know my boys are at home and I know that they're safe. That's all I care about. And so I would say around, show you how concerned I was. 17 minutes later, the chief of police walks in. I can't mention his name. As you notice, I didn't mention the address of the police station because I just can't distribute that information. If you can't understand that, Google it, look it up. Okay. So he walks in with my firearms in my leather pouch, and he puts it on his desk in front of me as I was sitting in the chair. And he said, you're free to go. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, you serious? He said, it's 3 accounts of self-defense. He said, you don't have a police record. It's 3 accounts of self-defense. He said, and we've been looking for these 2 men for 6.5 years out here in Las Vegas and in the Laughlin area, Laughlin, Nevada, and in Carson City. They've been going around stabbing and shooting and robbing people for the past 6.5 years. And so I'm like, so I'm free to go. He said, Mr. Brayboy, it's 3 accounts of self-defense. I said, yeah, but what about my record? He said, what record? He said, it's 3 accounts of self-defense. He said it was justified. You were protecting your children and yourself. I said, so this is not going to be on my record. He said, it's going to be documented as you being a potential to kill. A potential. He said, it'll only be there for 1 year. Because not everybody who has a firearm end up taking lives. You use it for the possibility of having to protect yourself. And so in a case like this, they're going to have to monitor you at least for a year. So he said, of course, you know, if something like this happens again, and then we're going to have to really investigate what's going on with you. He said, but right now, you were just protecting your children. That's all you were doing. And you was protecting yourself. So you're free to go. So I left. And I went home and I went to sleep. Because when you know that what you did was right, you act. Like I said, the first part of this video. Now, most people will say, most religious people will say, what you did was evil. How come you couldn't talk to them? I will never deny that I have an evil side to myself. When people ask me in person, what are you mixed with? When they look at me, I tell them I'm mixed with the same thing you are, good and evil. And some evil is necessary. That's why it's called a necessary evil. This is why this symbolizes the death angel. The angel of death, who does good. The good that is necessary, that is perceived as evil. You know, most people would say that's evil, but it's a necessary. I mean, I'm pretty certain you've seen it before. I mean, it's like there's a lot of characters out there, even in the movies, you know, in that franchise, The Chronicles of Riddick. It said at the beginning of Chronicles of Riddick that sometimes one evil has to be dealt with another kind of evil. And I've never denied that I have an evil side. But that evil is utilized for the sake of good and not strictly for the sake of doing evil towards people in the world. So I'm not going to sit here and deny that. Now, most people will say, well, you know, I think that what you did was evil. No, I don't care, because it's the way that I was created. You know, I mean, let's not forget, in your Bible, it says that the Creator created good and evil. The Creator created peace and war. It says, I, the Lord, created all of these things. Now we are created in its image and after its likeness. It's a dual creator. And this is the reason why we are dual human beings. So evil, good, evil, those are all point of views. And those attributes are executed during times within an experience. And sometimes people demonstrate evil for the wrong reasons. And sometimes people demonstrate good for the wrong reasons. And sometimes people demonstrate evil for a good reason and goodness for the sake of goodness. It's called being a dual manifestation. That's really all it is. Now, I believe it was 2.5 weeks later, the black guy's mother and his brother came down to the police station because they wanted to meet me. And so the police chief called me and he said, David, we have the guy's mother down here and she wants to meet you. And he said, are you willing to come? And I'm like, yeah, I'll come there. It was a Sunday. It's around 1:45. It's going towards 2 o'clock. And so they had her and his younger brother in a interrogation looking room. And so as I walked in, his brother looked at me, but his mother just sat there. And I guess she was waiting for me to sit in front of her. And so when I sat across the table from her, and she looked like she had just came from church because they was suited up and they attire where people looked like they had just came from church service. And so I sat there and she just sat there and she looked at me. And so she looked at me for about 30 seconds and then she reached into her purse and she took out 2 pictures. One picture was him when he was a baby. And one picture was him during his, it looked like it was in his like mid-teens or late teens. And she put his picture in front of me. And she said, this is who you killed. And she said, why did you kill my son? And so I took out my wallet and I took out a picture of both of my sons and I put it on the table. I said, and this is who I saved. I told her, I may be a killer, but I'm not a murderer. I don't murder people. And she said, ask me. She said, I just need to know. She said, why did you kill my son? And I told her, I didn't kill your son. You did. And when I said that, all of a sudden I heard a tss, and I looked up and it was his brother. And he was standing there and he was doing this. Then he opened up his eyes and he looked at me. He did like this. And the woman broke down. She started crying. And as she was crying, she was looking over at me. And I think what hurted her the most is that in her understanding, I wasn't showing any remorse, any compassion, anything. Now, this is not to brag. I'm just telling you what happened. Because I wish that this didn't happen, you know, and I don't feel like there's anything on my soul, you know, but as she broke down and cried, her son came and he put his hands on her shoulder like, come on, mama, let's go. And so as she was standing up, his brother took the pictures and he looked at me and he gave me a slight smile and he nodded his head. So obviously he knew that I was correct, but he also knew that sooner or later his brother was going to meet his demise one way or the other. And by him agreeing that what I said to his mother, that I didn't kill him. I didn't kill him. You did. So I can't say that I'm accurate, but I would think that one of the reasons why he had agreed with me is because obviously maybe she encouraged it in some shape, form, or fashion. But so it was just unfortunate for them, unfortunate for me and my sons. And so after they left the building, because the chief wanted me to stay in the room until they left the building. And then as he came in, he said, let me talk to you in the office for a minute. So I went back to the same office and he said, you okay? You know, he asked me to take a seat and I sat down and he sat in his chair and he looked at me. He said, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. He said, you know, I've never met anybody like you. And he said, you know, we were watching everything while it was going on. And when she put the pictures on the table and you was looking at the pictures and you sat back in your chair, and when you put the picture of your sons up there, he said, we were wondering what's going to happen. He said, and then when you told her that I didn't kill your son and that you're not a murderer, he said, and when you told her that she did, he said, let me tell you something. He said that made such an impact on us. The same as we noticed the impact that it had on her son and her. He said, we noticed about you that you sat there. He said, and we looked into your eyes, and it was like there was nothing there. I say again, this is not to brag, because I wouldn't want this experience on anyone, strictly because I wouldn't want anyone to experience anything like this while they're with their children. I'm all about kids. I'm all about children. I'm all about protecting your seeds. And like Brother Malcolm said, by any means necessary, if I have to kill, then I'll kill mine. And a lot of you brothers out there should feel that same way. And I know that you do, because I know that you love your seeds just as much as I do. But he was saying that he understood when I said, I'm not a murderer. I may be a killer, but I'm not a murderer. And I told him the distinction of being a murderer is someone who takes lives, innocent lives, unjustly. That's a murder. But I'm not going to deny that I am a killer. I will kill. if it's for the right reasons. And when it comes to protecting my sons, I will power bodies all the way up to the clouds to protect my two sons. And I think that every man, I'm speaking on the men, every man should love their children that much, to the degree that you act and you don't think about the religious programming that you accumulated all your life. If I do this, I'm going to go to hell. See why you're thinking about that? Why those thoughts are going on? It means you're not acting. And it means that someone is getting closer and closer to you, where you're trying to make up your mind if you should or should not. Act. Use your intelligence, clarity. Act. You don't have any time to think about what you should do. If you have to think about what you should do, you shouldn't have any children. You have to know what you need to do. Knowing is clarity. Clarity is intelligence. Intelligence, act. I mean, it's like if you're walking across the street, right? And there's a car coming. And you look up. And the light is still red. But you notice their pace, their speeding. If you stand there and you say, why is he speeding? It's still a red light. Eventually, you're going to get killed. The intelligence says, I'm in the streets, there's a car coming. You look at the red light and you see the danger coming. Intelligence, you get out the way. Instant, you act. That's what it's about. Act. So that's what happened that night. And so, do I have any regrets? No. Do I have any remorse? No. Am I angry with the guy's mother? Yes. Because I felt like she created a monster. Now I don't know what happened in detail. I don't know what happened. I'm looking at the results. And the results was coming towards me and mine. Hey, bro. I don't know what your upbringing was. I really don't care. But you want to know something? Not mine. Not mine. Not mine. Now the other guy, the white guy, his family was I believe they was in Seattle, Washington. So they shipped his remains back to Seattle, Washington. Now the other brother, he was born in Oakland, but he resided. His family moved out here to Las Vegas. And so I would encourage people, when it comes to your children, and when you come to a situation like that, make certain that you keep yourself under control, because nights like that, my mind was concerned on, I don't want anything to affect my two sons. So I have to remain calm and tell them, get in the car, lock the doors, lay down, and no matter what you hear, don't look up, okay? That's the way you have to communicate. You can't excite them. Hey, y'all get in the car. Hurry up, get in the car. Because then kids are going to be like, Daddy, what's wrong? You know, they're going to be looking. You don't have time for that. So you have to remain calm. Get in the car. Go ahead. We're going to finish this later. And lay down. And no matter what you hear, don't look up, okay? Okay. Daddy'll be right back. Close the door. And you say, lock the door, okay? You're doing that. And at the same time, you're looking at how close they're getting towards, because you don't want anything like this to go down too close to your children. You want to keep those people as far away from your children as possible. And so that's what happened that night. And how do I live with it today? I don't live with it. It was an experience. And in meditation, the Creator one day revealed to me that you're evil, but you're a necessary evil. You're an evil that is necessary. You're a death angel. You hold the type of mentality and spirit that the book of Revelations talk about during the purge, when all of the wicked on the planet are going to be wiped out. And as the book says, the great and dreadful day of the Lord is going to be perceived as dreadful, because there's going to be a great violence on the planet, where it's going to be blood all the way up to the horses bridle. So, I mean, I'm not alone with this. It's a whole lot of people who are frustrated with the world that we human beings have helped create on this beautiful planet Earth. And so that's pretty much it. And so I don't live in it in the sense where I feel bad about what I did. I don't feel bad at all. I do it again. You know, but what disappointed me is that it showed me that when he looked over at the white guy, I noticed that it was someone who looked at like me that encouraged it. He encouraged it. And that's why he caught it the worst. And so I will have to admit that changed my outlook on black men, along with growing up, noticing that most black men treat me different and look at me different for some reason. And so my relationship with black men is very limited. You know, you have to be at a certain state of mind in order to for me to gain a relationship with you and maintain one, you know. And it's only because of the way that most black men respond to me, because they think that I don't act black, whatever that means, you know. But That's another subject. I would rather not go into that. But it's unfortunate for them, but it was fortunate for me and my sons. And so, with that being said, as I always say, they wanted me to share that. And so that's what happened. And so I would encourage people to protect your children at all costs, preserve their lives, because our children are our greatest and most precious gift on this planet. And when it comes to preserving their lives, you act. You act. You don't think about going to heaven or the possibility of going to hell. You act. You act. You see the situation for what it is, and you act upon it. It's just a part of being a human being. And so with that being said, in this video, because I have to go to work, with, as I always say, stay human and do what is right, even if it's perceived as an evil act, as long as you utilize your dark side for the sake of goodness. Because the dark side is really not. It's just a part of the dual nature. It's all about what it's utilized for. So it all boils down to the motives of the person that's choosing to execute it. You just have to have a clear understanding of both of those gifts. And so what most people would consider the balance, we just have to also understand that once you found the balance, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're in humility, because you're still in conflict. You just found a way to maintain it because you found some way for both those, you might as well say, entities that are sitting up inside of the human being to coexist. And the only way that they're going to be able to coexist together, intelligence have to be in the center. For both of them will be able to tolerate one another. So, well, as I say all the time, with that being said, I'm going to end this video by saying, protect your children at all costs and stay human. Peace. And so I sat there, and she just sat there and she looked at it. And so she looked at me for about 30 seconds, and then she reached into her purse and she took out two pictures. One picture was him when he was a baby, and one picture was him during his, it looked like it was in his like mid-teens or late teens. And she put his picture in front of me. And she said, "This is who you killed." And she said, "Why did you kill my son?" And so I took out my wallet and I took out a picture of both of my sons and I put it on the table. I said, "And this is who I say." I told her, "I may be a killer, but I'm not a murderer. I don't murder people." And she said, "Ask me." She said, "I just need to know." She said, "Why did you kill my son?" And I told her, "I didn't kill your son. You did." And when I said that, all of a sudden I heard a tss, and I looked up and it was his brother. And he was standing there and he was doing this. Then he opened up his eyes and he looked at me. He did like this. And the woman broke down. She started crying. And as she was crying, she was looking over at me. And I think what hurted her the most is that in her understanding, I wasn't showing any remorse, any compassion, anything. Now this is not to brag, I'm just telling you what happened. Because I wish that this didn't happen. You know, and I don't feel like there's anything on my soul, you know. But as she broke down and cried, her son came and he put his hands on her shoulder like, "Come on, mama, let's go." And so as she was standing up, his brother took the pictures and he looked at me and he gave me a slight smile. He nodded his head. So obviously he knew that I was correct, but he also knew that sooner or later his brother was going to meet his demise one way or another. And by him agreeing that what I said to his mother, that I didn't kill him. I didn't kill him. You did. So I can't say that I'm accurate, but I would think that one of the reasons why he had agreed with me is because obviously maybe she encouraged it in some shape, form, or fashion. But so it's just unfortunate for them, unfortunate for me and my son. This is a follow-up on my previous video, and I want to go ahead and make this real quick because I want to get past the other previous videos in terms of the subjects, because I would rather begin to go in other areas of living. Plus, I have some people who want to collaborate with me on a lot of subjects. I feel as though I have a whole lot more to offer um, in terms of videos because of my experiences, so these things I would just rather just hurry up and just address these um, issues just so I can get past them. Now, the part that I put before was mostly everybody's concern. They were concerned about how what I said had affected the mother. Everybody was asking me, have you heard from her? Have you seen her and his brother and all of that? No, that was the last time that I ever saw those people. Though that was the last time, And as I said before, I don't like the fact that even happened. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that happened. I don't regret it because I was protecting the lives of my sons. But it's a shame that even had to happen. They asked me, do you feel bad about it? I feel bad that had to happen, but I don't feel bad about what I did because I was protecting the lives of my sons. So I just want, to answer everybody's questions objectively. Now, this goes back, when they asked me, why did you tell the mother that you didn't kill his son? She did. And I think that a whole lot of ways that it's like my previous video, create no monsters. I think that video pretty much implies what I meant, and if you remember when I was telling you about how his brother had looked at me and how his brother had responded, the nodding of the head and everything, I remember mentioning that in some shape, form, and fashion, his mother had promoted it. You might as well say encouraged it and advocated his behavior. So the way that parents also create monsters is when they allow their children to continue down a path of self-destruction. You love your child so much and he's still your baby, because she gave me a picture of him when he was a little baby. He's still my baby. And so, some parents like that, their children can do no wrong when wrong is all that they're out there doing to others, as he was with his partner for like 6.5 years. They were out there assaulting people. Now, the chief didn't tell me that they killed anybody, because really, if you do your research, information like that is not supposed to be distributed to people, so that's just the way it is. So he told me that they were out stabbing people and shooting people and robbing people, for 6.5 years out here in Las Vegas, another area of Nevada called Laughlin, and another area out here called Carson City. So they were out there doing that for 6.5 years. So, one of the reasons, to me, I felt like 6.5 years and you guys couldn't catch these dudes. You had all this information on them. How come you guys didn't put forth a better effort to catch these guys? If you said they've been doing this for 6.5 years, it means that they didn't try to disguise themselves, because when they had approached me and my sons, they didn't have any mask on, they didn't have anything. They were just monsters. They were created monsters by their parents and the environment. And sooner or later, when you're going down that path of self-destruction, things like that is going to eventually happen. And if you're going down a path of self-destruction, simply because someone defended themselves by taking your life, by pulling the trigger or whatever the case may be, it's still a form of self-destruction because you're out here messing with people, messing with the wrong people. It just took a human being like me who is very protective and love my sons. Unfortunately, it took me, unfortunately, for them to stop their rap, but as far as their road of self-destruction, what I'm talking about is their state of mind, their state of mind, because sometimes you can live the rest of your life suicidal because of the way you're thinking, so, as far as me telling her that she was the one who killed him, I was basically telling her, you raised him. You raised him to be this way. And obviously, during those times when he was out there being cultivated as this monster, at some point in time, she didn't take accountability as a parent in order to correct him. And the only reason why I say that is because of what his brother did, the way he looked at me. And he nodded his head. And when he left, like I said before, he looked at me, he gave me a little smile, and he nodded his head like, you're right, bro, you're right. So obviously some of the things that I'm implying right here, there is a possibility that he was thinking the same way and he was feeling the same way in reference to the relationship that his brother had with his mother, with her obviously feeling like he can do no wrong, because I had even wondered, how is it that him and his friend can be going between Las Vegas, Carson City, and Laughlin, Nevada for 6.5 years doing these things, and his mother not know about it? I mean, did she know about this? So the whole thing is, whenever you help create monsters of your children, when they meet their demise, whether someone deletes them or they end up getting caught, the road of self-destruction is pretty much, as they say today, you are walking the path of deleting yourself. You're deleting yourself. Whether someone kills you or one way or the other, so you can't say, why did you kill my son? When you killed him because of the way that you raised him. This is the way that you raised him. When you raise monsters, and as we all know in horror movies, monsters don't last. Monsters are on a path of self-destruction because they are stirring up conflict and chaos. And there's a certain time where chaos begins and where chaos ends. And that's just not for monster movies like Godzilla or any other horror movie that we sit down and entertain ourselves with. That is a part of the human condition as well. You only have a certain amount of time to be foolish, and sooner or later, that's going to end. It's going to end. And see, that's why it's very, very important for us to raise our children to be human beings members of humanity. We are supposed to put people in this society that's going to be beneficial to humanity so that the world can be a better place to live. We have to give each other heaven while we're still here on earth. If you was to meet me in person, you would meet a very kind and considerate and courteous man. You know, now I have to admit I'm kind of standoffish with people, but when you come in contact with me, you know, as far as communication is concerned, I will boldly say you're not going to find a more friendly and more kind person in the world. You know, I'm very reserved and very humble, you know, and so you're going to find yourself communicating with a man who is very respectable, very respectable. And not only because I was raised to be so, it's just that those are human attributes that I absolutely agree with and I value, because I know that that gives more virtue to the society. You know, because we live in a dual society. You know, the other portion of society don't think this way. And so that's the dual. You know, you have people who want to add to humanity, and you have people out there that are trying to take from humanity by destroying the goodness that people put in humanity through their inhumane thoughts and their inhumane actions. I think I drank too much coffee. But asking me, do you take accountability for the way that she was made to feel? No, she has to take accountability because of the way that she obviously raised him. That got us to that room. You know, people ask me, where do you think his father was? I don't know. But he has to take accountability too, if he was even living during that time. I don't know. I didn't really do a lot of research into the family. The only thing, if you notice, that I knew in terms of his family was the fact that the brother that was in there with the mother was his younger brother. That's all I knew, you know. But after I used to think about her a lot, you know. I mean, of course, you know, she did what she did to try to make me feel bad by looking at me, you know, while she's crying, and you know, she was trying to, you know, trying to make me feel bad. But you can't make me feel bad for protecting the lives of my sons. You can't make me feel bad for protecting the lives of my sons. If Jesus, the Christ, disrespect my sons, I'm taking Jesus out. Now, you Christians can feel any way you want about that statement, but I absolutely mean that. I mean that to the fullest. Because there should be no limitations when it comes to protecting the lives of your children. No limitations. Because if you have limitations when it comes to protecting them, you shouldn't have children. You shouldn't have them. Like I said, we cannot create monsters and put them in society. Because when you create monsters and you put them into society, people like me and my sons have to deal with you. And I was going to make certain that my sons are not going to have to deal with people like him. And I was going to make absolutely certain that they were not going to see their father take the lives of two human beings. That's why I told them to lay down and don't look up no matter what you hear. I don't want you to see this because I don't want you to record this. Okay? I will suffer this for you, but not you. I don't want you seeing that. I don't want you feeling that. I don't want you afraid of your dad. I don't want you to feel as though that you can't talk to me about certain things. You know, those type of things. And so you have to be very careful what you allow to transpire around your children. And situations like that, I knew exactly, once I saw exactly what this was, I calmed myself and I made certain that, you know, they were put away, you know, lock the door and, you know, like I said, because I didn't want to excite them, because if I would have excited them, they would not have laid down in that back seat like I instructed them. Had I had excited them and made them think and feel that it was an emergency, even though I told them to lay down and told them to lock the door, they still would have been, what's going on? Because I would have made them feel like they were in an emergency type situation. But I calmed myself down so that they could comply properly, so that when they laid down, they stayed down, you know? And so that was it. Because you don't want things to affect your children simply because someone's other parents were being irresponsible by not making certain that their children out here are treating people like human beings. You know, no monsters. We can't create monsters and put them out here in society, because when we help create monsters and put them out here in society, we're doing humanity a great disservice to the planet. A great disservice to the planet. And the world is going into darkness right now at a fast rate because not enough people love humanity. Not a lot of people understand how very valuable this planet Earth is. And it's just a shame, you know, because of the effects of this government system. And, you know, it's got this high inflation, and it's, you know, you have religions that are betraying people, and a whole lot of the doctrines don't really have anything imbued within the doctrines that helps people govern their behavior, and therefore don't really instruct you on how to behave and why. So, you know, they're giving you a whole lot of things out there to submit to, but in effect, you're really on your own with a whole lot of things out here. I mean, a lot of information out here is really just, that's all it is. It's just information, and that's it. You know, most of the things that we are up in today is just a bunch of rhetoric. It sounds good, but it doesn't really have any substance. You know, that's just like, you know, the people that are walking around with this negative energy and positive energy and high vibrations and the chakras and all of that means nothing at all. Okay, you sound like a bunch of Einsteins, and you sound like a bunch of robots. You know, and you say, well, I'm out of Christianity right now. You know, yeah, but you're just using different words. You know, it's like the Christian condemn you. You still doing the same thing. You're just using different words. The Christians say, you a devil. You tell somebody you're a negative human being. I mean, it's just a bunch of nonsense. It's a bunch of nonsense. And any information that's going to cause a divisiveness within humanity only imposes the greatest violence on humanity, and that is the separation of humanity. And it puts us on this side and that side. And we have opposing mentalities because we've given ourselves to opposing information. And you just keep going back and forth like that. And it's not going to make anything better. And that's one of the reasons why humanity is not one now. We're just a bunch of fragments. And we're out here causing harm to one another. And as long as that continues, things are not going to get better. So as parents out there, I say again, please make certain that you are not raising monsters, whether it's your son or your daughter, and putting them into this society, because you're basically killing them. You're setting them on the path of death and self-destruction. And due to the fact that you put them on that path and you allowed them to venture down that path, and you see some of the wrongs that they do and you looking the other way, basically what you're doing is you're ushering them towards a cliff, and you're not telling them to stop or turn around. That's pretty much all you're doing. When you love your children, you teach them how to be human beings. When you hate your children, you turn them into monsters. So I'm hoping that I'm covered what I needed to cover as far as my previous video is concerned. And if I'm just going to say, if you have any more questions about that situation, I'm not going to answer them, because I want to move forward to better subjects, better, more uplifting subjects, because my life has been difficult, but it hasn't not been beautiful. I've had a lot of beautiful experiences, and it's those beautiful experiences that really touches the humanity of the soul. And despite if you have more experiences that are considered dark, all you need is just a few of those real beautiful experiences, and it helps you understand that those dark times were not so bad, because you survived. So with all of this being said, as I said before, just make certain that we continue to create human beings and put them in this society. Because, and I will say this for the religious community. So just give me a few minutes. When Yeshua had told people, go and sin no more, he's telling you that you don't need me, and you don't need to pray to the Creator for you to end your path of self-destruction or to save yourself from yourself. He told you to go and sin no more. He's telling you you can do that yourself. Do it yourself. And there's another part in the Bible. Even though the book of Revelations, it tells you how the last days are going to go. But when you really pay very close attention to Yeshua's message and him telling you how powerful you are as a human being on the inside, in reference to you being able to end all of the self-destructive behavior. He's telling you can end it yourself. You don't need me, to tell you. It's pretty much like he says, be ye therefore perfect as your Father in heaven is also perfect. Now, where we make the mistake is everybody has a description of what perfection is. Throw that away. Because if everybody sat at the table and talked about what perfection is, you'll never find it. You'll never find it, because perfection is not a definition. It's a state of individual being. He's telling you to be ye therefore perfect as your Father in heaven is also perfect. The same Father that created you in his image and after his likeness. But you're still an individual. That's one of the reasons why you were manifested into this life, to live at a certain time and purpose. So you're still an individual, but going towards what I was talking about in terms of the book of Revelations. Now, the book of Revelations is giving you a insight on what could happen during the end of times. This could happen, but there's another part where it says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, forgive their sins, and heal the land. If you would do this, if you will humble yourself and pray and decide to turn from your wicked ways. See, the Creator is not telling you that I'm going to help you. I'm going to turn you from your wicked ways. He said, if you will turn from your wicked ways. So it's also telling you, you know what your wicked ways are. You know. So turn from them. Love yourself enough to turn from your wicked ways. Your wicked ways. That means you identify that these wicked ways are my own. So what do? You fall out of love with wickedness and you fall back in love with righteousness. And once you turn, you fall back in love with righteousness, then you have the power and the will to say, you know what? I ain't in love with you no more, so I'm going to turn from you. I'm going to turn from those wicked ways. So when you turn from those wicked ways, and I'm talking about myself too, when you turn from those wicked ways, then the Creator will hear us and heal the land. It's telling you that humanity can be resolved by the human family. Now, when everybody understands that humanity can resolve itself, then what's being taught in the book of Revelations does not have to transpire. Because it's telling you, if you would turn from your wicked ways, then I'll hear from heaven and I'll heal the land. The power is within us. Don't let these preachers tell you God's got to do it. God had already did it. Check out the Beatitudes. Be this, be that. He didn't say become. So it's not a process. See, becoming something is a process. He's not talking about a measurement of time. He's not talking about a process. He's not talking about a period of changing. He's telling you to be. He's telling you that you already have it inside of you. You already have it inside of you. Just what? Be. Be what? Be yourself. Just be yourself. Get rid of all of the madness that we've been accumulating through this wicked society. This is why he said, except a man be born again, only then will he be able to see the kingdom of God. A clear perception of what is right. Get rid of that. And that's how we can create what the religious community, and it's just simple, heaven on earth. This is the reason why I was saying in those Create No Monsters video. No, what was it? It was the healing video. You give your children heaven while you're on this planet. Simply because you died and you smiling down on earth, that don't mean nothing, bro. Because when you was here, like I said, you gave us nothing but hell. You supposed to give your family, friends, associates, give everybody heaven while you're here. You don't want to be like my Aunt Ruth on this planet for like between 83 and 84 years and only 5 people come to your memorial. That's terrible. And all of those 5 people were family members, and therefore nobody came. Because you know family is going to come, but at the same time, you come from a huge family and only 5 people. Because you gave everybody hell while you were here. Let's create human beings and not monsters. Because when you create monsters, then you put people like me in the position to where I had to do what I did. Do I feel good about what I did? Yeah, because I was protecting my sons. Do I feel bad that it happened? Yes. Yeah. Does it bother me? No, not at all, because I know that what I done was right, because I was protecting my sons. So this is why, I tell people with those videos, you really have to understand the whole situation and why it transpired the way that it did. But with all of that being said, like I always say in my videos, I hope that everybody understood it and everything. And I just want to move on to better subjects, because like I say, I've been a lot of places, and there's a lot of things that I've learned in my life that I want to share with a lot of people. And so with that being said, everybody have a good day and stay human, and understand that being human is just simply means that you are a member of humanity, and humanity is a good thing, and being human is a good thing. One of the mistakes that we make a whole lot is that we only admit that we're human when we mess up. Well, I'm only human. No, don't ever say you only human. Only human? Being human is very profound. So you should never say only. Being human is a beautiful thing, and once you understand what it means to be a human being, you're going to find yourself being a Christian, being a Muslim, all of those things are just extras. All of those things are just extras. And as time goes on, once you understand exactly what being a human being is, you just may get rid of those extras, because you're going to find out that just simply being a human being is enough, because it's always been enough. So with that being said, everyone stay human, and y'all have a good evening. Peace.